We're just gonna test the sound here. Okay. So it does say live. I just want to see if it shows up on YouTube just to test sound, and then we get to go. Just want to see if it shows up on YouTube. Perfect. Alrighty. Welcome to anybody that's gonna catch this on playback. I'm not popular enough for people to be in the chat, but wanted to have a discussion with a friend, colleague, person that I look up to in the space in terms of what he has done and what he has learned over time. Um, Recently, one of the big things is that he kind of entered a competition held by Dollar Will, and there was some congratulations on that. So if you can explain that, Lynell, that would be great at some point. But this is Lynell, and he runs a channel on crypto with Lynell. And recently, he's rebuilding the channel, and he's gotten into things like XRP. He's gotten into the Bitcoin and Ethereum, the short-term trades, the long-term trades. What are his thoughts on it? He's done the research. He's been a part of the cryptocurrency space and even the manosphere for quite a bit of time. That I actually all the time that I've known him, and he's actually been somebody that has given me inspiration and thoughts, and kind of like shaped some of my views on cryptocurrencies. Thinking about things such as like holding actual assets, or actually owning pieces of an asset for short periods of time. Maybe even having a cryptocurrency that actually has a taxi cab associated with it, and then you can actually own shares in that taxi cab, and that could be like a robo taxi, and that can make some money. Like things like that were put in my head by Lynell. And I definitely think of him as a person that has the vision to do well in this space. And we've talked quite a bit before, but enough of me hyping him up. Lynell, please introduce yourself a little bit more, and yeah, we can get the discussion started.
Yeah, man. How you doing today?
Fine, brother. I appreciate you joining me here.
No problem. Thanks for having me on. Well, my name is Lynell. I run a channel, Crypto with Lynell, where, well, this is my 30-second elevator pitch. Run Crypto with Lynell. The same picture, photo you see on the screen is what you'll see on my YouTube channel icon. And what I do is I go over daily cryptocurrency news and insights. The videos are about 30, 35 minutes long in podcast form. So you can just listen to when you're waiting to work, walking, or sit down and listen to. And I keep people abreast and in the loop of what's going on within the cryptocurrency industry.
Alrighty. Yeah. You know, he's been someone that has actually done quite a bit of work, and just watching him grow in this space and do crazy things, or be a part of some of the crazy moves in terms of like the 2017 bull market, and then the subsequent 2018 bloodbath that we were both a part of, that we both learned from. I took that as a very serious and expensive lesson, and I was a little bit more prudent. I would say he took it, and he embraced it, and he embraced crypto even more so. So I looked into the abyss and blinked. He looked into the abyss and stepped forward. So it's definitely something that I think is great. Now I know just the other day you had a bit of congratulations on Dollar Will's channel, another brother of ours in the space. Like, what was that about?
Yeah. Before I step into that one, the irony of all this is you the one that introduced me to crypto. You told me to go to Coinbase, go Coin Market Cap, and when I did that, this was back in 2017. I
Nice.
just, then stepped back. So I was just, piggybacking on what you said.
Yeah.
And with I've been learning technical analysis with Dollar Will since February of last year, and in January, I signed up for a prop firm. Prop firm is short for a proprietary firm where you trade their money, and you have to pass a challenge. And the particular firm I went to is FTMO, and it's a two-stage challenge. And the first stage, you have to make $10,000
Whoa.
a profit of 10. Well, it's different levels. You have the 25,000 uh, account, the $50,000 account, and $100,000 account, and you have to pay. You have to pay for each account or whichever account you choose to trade with. So I decided to go for the $100,000 account, and the profit target was $10,000 within 30 days. This is the first stage. Also, you have to trade a minimum of 10 days. You can't lose no more than $5,000 in one day, and you can't lose no more than $10,000 total. And so I passed the first stage. Currently, I'm in the second stage of that challenge, which is I have to get which is easier than the first stage. I have to get a profit target of $5,000 within 60 days. And after you do that, they'll review your trades. And if you pass, you'll get the ability to trade their money and you get 70% of the profit.
Whoa, that's huge. Like it.
Yeah.
So, and this is what I was talking about. Like I became a more prudent and kind of paranoid investor in cryptocurrencies and really just getting into stocks now. And Lynell stepped forward, all in,
Yeah.
and that's crazy. Like I didn't know. I didn't remember that I really kind of like I guess introduced you to like cryptos in a sense, but cool. I'll take it.
Yeah.
You can see that a person like Lynell, he's definitely grown and embraced the space, and he's done big things with it.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy. So speaking of that, I've been talking about. Give me a moment. So I've been talking lately in some of my videos about a YOLO move. So this discussion is basically under the banner of my MGTOW Retirement. So men going their own way that want to retire in the long term and thinking about investments that will make them money, that will allow them to be more profitable, or actually not profitable per se, but to fund their MGTOW lifestyle in the later years of their life. We can't do this forever in terms of working on a daily basis. For some people, for some MGTOWs, our kids will grow up. We might want to move on, maybe even get back into a family life, or get a relationship, or even have more kids, or for some MGTOWs, have kids, period, like myself. So with that being said, what are we going to do to fund all of this to make sure that we have money ready to go, uh, or ready for that time in our life? So recently, I've been talking about this YOLO move. This YOLO move is in cryptocurrencies, taking about I've already initiated some of it, but currently taking about 35,000, or sorry, wish $3,500. I have taken that as a collateralized loan from my own stock portfolio in M1 Finance, using M1 Finance Borrow, and I'm going to go ahead and buy some cryptocurrencies. Um, Currently, my thought is to have that separated across three different cryptocurrencies. Uh, just really simply, 1,000 in Bitcoin, 1,000 in XLM, and then another at least one coin worth of Ethereum, which I'm waiting for the price to drop on that, if it will. But that's kind of the move that I'm looking at. I have already put more into it than that, but this is going to be something that's going to be a long-term move for me. And when I say long-term, looking at 1 to 2 years. Um, I'm sure we have to put in the disclaimer. This is not financial advice. This is just two guys talking about a move that one guy is going to take a risk on. So my reason for this discussion is to bring this to Lynell and say, Lynell, what are your thoughts on it with what I've said thus far? And do you have any more questions on it?
So obviously, when that type of YOLO move, you'll think you're going to get more return on the 3,500 in crypto than you would in stocks, and over the course of 1 or 2 years, or even more. So now you have to say, okay, I know I'm going to. No, I want to say, I want to use the word say. I know. Now you're saying, I expect to get more of a return than if it was in crypto compared to if that money was still in the stock world.
Also, that money is being borrowed at a 2% interest rate. So I'm also expecting to beat the interest rate or make more than the interest rate that I'm being charged on that same money.
Okay. So now let's say two. So you plan on doing this for 2 years. Well, irregardless of that, now you got to calculate. Okay, each year 2%. So now you got to beat. You got to get a 2% gain on whichever cryptocurrencies you purchase, and you said Bitcoin, XLM, and Ethereum
Mhm,
on each year on that $3,500. So
mhm,
obviously in cryptocurrency, the ROI on that is on in crypto is higher than the stock market. So just do a few calculations. 3,500 in 1 year, you're going to get a 2% interest. You're going to be is charged $70, and then that 35
mhm,
now 70. My bad, put in the wrong number. 35.70 in a second year is 71.40. So altogether, let's say $145, even round number. Can you make $145 in minimum in
mhm.
2 years on crypto? So that's the next question. And on top of that, how much would a person be willing to lose? How much would they be willing to lose of that 3,500 before they say, you know what, this not working out? Are they willing to lose the entire 3,500? I don't think so. Well, how much are they willing to lose? So now that question needs to be answered. Obviously, all the pundits, JP Morgan Chase, Chase Bank, the CEOs of hedge funds all think that cryptocurrency, and in particular Bitcoin, will go to these high highs by the end of this year. So
Mhm.
now, let's say if that's true, we already established how much minimum you have to make in 2 years to just cover the 2%. The question needs to be answered. How much am I willing to lose? What percentage am I willing to lose on this? That would be your risk. What would be your risk? And now you would say, okay, what what's my goal? What is the profit target that I'm willing to am I looking for a 3% gain, 4% gain, 5% gain, 10% gain over 2 years? So now let's say Bitcoin, in particular Bitcoin, goes to these highs that these pundits are talking about.
Now, let me interject one thing. Rob Powell, one of the co-founders of the content creator Real Vision, the financial content juggernaut Real Vision,
Hmm.
uh, and who has a YouTube channel, he did an interview with Mike Novogratz, and he's actually speculating, a heavy speculation. And this is something that was pointed out by the Aim Stone channel. But he talked about a $24,000 price point for Ethereum by the end of 2021. I don't think so, but it actually has done well from what I've seen in terms of early speculation when Bitcoin or when Ethereum was about like $400, saying that it would actually break $1,000. A couple months later, now we're looking at $1,600 Ethereum. Go ahead.
So now with that 24,000, I think Ethereum is 1,600,
Yep.
and now that $24,000 price target, that would give you like a 66, no, that's over. That's over. That's a what, three, it's a couple 100% gain. That's well over, 2%.
We'll say 24,000, and we'll divide that by the current price of 1,600, rounding that down, and we're
Yeah,
looking at 15x at that point.
right. So that's well above. So
Mhm.
that's 150%, I believe, or 15x. So that's well above.
100% or something like that.
Yeah, right, right.
Something like that. Yeah.
So that's well above 2%. With that one move on Ethereum, that covers, your XLM, that covers the Bitcoin just with that. And with XLM, it's easier for XLM to double since it's so cheap in price. It's like 40, 44, 43 cent. It's easy for it to go to 88, 90 cent. Then Bitcoin to double. Ethereum would be the second easiest to go from 1600 to 3200. So it's possible. I would say it's possible, given that all these pundits are saying that it'll, when Bitcoin goes up, the whole market goes up. So
Well, you're also hearing some pundits where they're giving price predictions of a 10x on Bitcoin going up into the $300,000 price point. Now, I'm not sure when that is. Of course, nobody knows. You can't really time the market well enough. I have gotten, I've taken money off the table a little bit too early. When Ethereum gets to that point, gets to a high enough price target, I do have my exit strategy in terms of coins for a long period of time.
So you got your exit strategy.
Yeah, I have my exit points. Essentially, what I want to do, and again, this is and I'll let you speak. I apologize for this.
No problem.
But the exit strategy is get enough to pay off my truck, so then I can take that money and then that monthly that what's it called, that monthly car note money, and put it into more cryptocurrencies and stocks. So, and then funding my retirement vehicle, as if I'm gonna have a life of solitude, of MGTOW greatness. I already got the house, but going towards, okay, paying off the car first, then after that, paying off the house. And then, at that point, you can actually live a lifestyle where you're possibly a digital nomad, and then you can move around because you don't have all these things. But sadly, unless you have a higher paying job, you're not going to get that very easily. So sometimes you have to make these risky moves. And I don't think it's that crazy of a move of putting in 3,500. I have put in a little bit more, but I'll get into that later. But go ahead, Lynell.
So now, okay, so you got your price target. So now, how much would a person be willing to risk? So everything is pointing toward, the pricing going up. Everything is pointing toward these price targets. All right, everything is pointing toward everything going up. But what would be that does not mean you should not identify a risk. So of that 3,500, how much are you willing to risk? So and I'll give an example. In trading, I know I shoot for a 3-to-1 risk reward. So whatever say my account is 3,500, I'm willing to risk $35 to get a 3-to-1 risk reward of $35 would be $105.
Yeah.
So if the trade go against me and I lose $35, and I'm out the trade. So, and that's 1%. So now, obviously, that's a different world now. And with what we're talking about, how much would that person be willing to risk of that $35 to see this through?
So if we're saying like a risk of that $3,500 investment, how long before I sell out to cover, my bases or cover myself? I would actually not do it on a monetary amount. Probably what I would do is if I see one of the three, BTC, ETH, or XLM go down to a certain point, and I feel that it's not really going to go anywhere, I might move half of it or half of its current or the half of the value of it at the time and move it to another coin. Or I might double down and actually buy more. These are three high-end projects that have been out for a long period of time. BTC is not something that I always stay in. I trade in and out of BTC. It's just, it is what it is. I think there are better projects in a sense out there. But I really do like XLM and what they're doing in terms of like, giving banking to the unbanked, and then also doing things like reaching out to people in remote areas and getting more people to a point of being banked or bankable or in the banking system. There's good and there's bad to that, however you want to look at it. But I think it's something that they're actually trying to in a sense, grow the pie, if you will, and by getting more people in it. And that's how I see it. And the same thing with Ethereum. I believe that with Ethereum, they have a great use case, and they're steadily making improvements on it. Another one would be Cardano, but right now it's kind of hard to get in and out of some of these things and get to other exchanges where Cardano lives. So I really only use Coinbase at this moment. Binance has kind of shut the door on us in the US.
And what about Binance US?
Yeah, I have Binance US, and I couldn't really do anything with it
Uh,
unless unless I have the wrong one. But I was in Binance, and I had Cardano, and now I can't really do anything with Binance US.
okay. So now it's go ahead.
I could be wrong about that, but I'll check.
So now it sounds like you have a established risk
Mhm.
because you don't want a situation to say, oh, I'm gonna put $3,500 in it and you're just gonna watch it draw down.
Yeah.
But you do have your established risk. You
Mhm.
have your profit targets. So it's a control risk. You're taking a risk, but you establish what would be your risk to reward.
Yeah.
And in that case, I think me personally, if it was me, hey, I establish everything and just see if it works out.
All right.
You
Yeah.
know, you got everybody, pundits, people coming to the market, corporate entities coming to the market more and more. So the momentum is to the upside,
Hmm.
which supports this risk.
Yeah. I mean, I can live in the delusion of recency bias and say, hey, listen, it's done this much in the past. It should do this much in the future. And it's just like, no, you can't always do that. I do have a bit of that, but you also have to have a healthy bit of paranoia and looking at some of these coins. Since we've been in the market, these coins have grown a great amount. And if we would have gotten in earlier or held longer and not had weak hands or not had any problems in our lives, like myself, in terms of like COVID-19 and making a move to another state and things like that, then we'd have more money. So I'm looking at this move really to have a more of a time expiration and having that money kind of slosh around between those three coins or maybe even four if Cardano gets added to Bitcoin or sorry, Coinbase. But this is just something where it's like, listen, we're gonna try the time horizon. We're gonna try the time expiration rather than a price expiration in terms of where I'm going to get in and get out, or where I'm going to get out. Really,
Okay, yeah. Hey, everything sounds good, in the situation we just spoke about. You got the momentum with you. You ride the wave up, and with established risk to reward. Hey, see if the risk works.
right? So now I have the question. Um, you speak on momentum, and it's just like, okay, then we get into what is causing the momentum, what is pushing things along. Is it the institutional investor, the big whale that's coming in and making a big splash in the pond, therefore rising all boats? Like, is it that? Is that BS? Or is this market um still have a lot of room to grow? I mean, and is it going to be the retail trader? Is it going to be the institutional trader that's actually going to allow it to grow? Your thoughts on that?
So, during the 2017 bull run, the great 2017 bull run, it's well known that it wasn't a lot of corporations and large scale businesses in the space like it is now. And so you have companies such as Grayscale, with a lot of these companies, they say they have Bitcoin, but it's really no but. It's just a correction in what and how it's said. They're purchasing, they have access to Bitcoin through Grayscale. Whereas, uh, example, Mass Mutual bought Bitcoin to put on their asset sheets.
Huh.
Well, what they did was, I think they had bought 50,000 Bitcoin. What they did was they bought about 600,000, about 600,000 shares of Grayscale, which is the equivalent to 50,000 Bitcoin, and
Mhm.
that's what they did. So, with Grayscale, they what they do is they turn around and they buy. Since Grayscale is a custody, what they do is they buy Bitcoin, and there's been news articles that has come out and said that Grayscale on multiple occasions bought more Bitcoin than is mined each day. So
Cool.
there's about 900 Bitcoin mined each day, and you
Mhm.
got Grayscale buying about 1,800 or so Bitcoin. And
Pre-existing and
right,
newly minted coins.
right. And
That's
now you
great.
got more and more institutions come to the space. And the significant thing about institutions is they have the money to buy more and more Bitcoin at these higher and higher prices. Retail investors, people may not have 36, 37, $42,000 to buy a whole Bitcoin.
Right.
Whereas these large um, institutions and deep pocketed individuals, they have the money to buy Bitcoin, whole Bitcoins, and chunks of Bitcoin at these high valuations.
Right.
So that's one of the differences. You got more money coming into the space.
Now, even with that, with the fungibility of Bitcoin, and you can break it down to what I think 8 decimal places.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, about 100,000. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
about 8 decimal places. So even with that type of fungibility, meaning that you can split it up into smaller pieces, does that even matter, or is that just one of those things where it's like, oh wow, big money move, buying 900 Bitcoin? Oh my God, like, is it one of those things? Because if you can, with the world of fractional shares in stock market, uh, it's not a big deal that you don't have to buy a whole thing. Your thoughts?
Right. So with crypto, it's a currency, and with shares, you're buying something that with the intention that it'll go up. With Bitcoin and crypto, in particular Bitcoin, yes, you buying it with the intention it'll go up, but you can also spend it. So now we have a situation. Let's say one of the valuations is, I think Chase is $160,000. Let's go with their valuation. This is their numbers, not ours,
Mhm.
and let's say go up to those points. Well, not too many people have $160,000 to purchase one whole Bitcoin. So now you have a situation where people are going to be saying, "Well, I purchased." They're going to go from purchasing one whole Bitcoin to start purchasing satoshis, and satoshis is the um
The smallest portion, the
right,
smallest Bitcoin, or the smallest, I guess, valuation, if you will, or
yeah, denominations,
denomination. Thank you so much.
right. So it's like saying dollar, the smaller denomination for dollar is
I mean,
penny, nickel, dime, quarter. So now you have a situation where people say, well, I bought 900 Satoshis, or I bought X amount of Satoshis, because a lot of people can't afford 160,000 Bitcoin. And I don't know too many people are going to take out a loan or a mortgage to buy one whole Bitcoin at $160,000. And at that point, it becomes ridiculous to do those type of things. People are doing it now, and people did it back in 2017. So people did it on GameStop. They were taking out loans. I've heard these things over and over again until they become familiar. Irrational exuberance. So now you have a situation where people are going to start buying satoshis. You could see a situation where people start to say, well, um, champion and make popular buying a million satoshis. Oh, a million satoshis, I'll be a millionaire in the future. You know, uh, 10 million satoshis, I'll be a, a decade millionaire in the future. So you may have those type of situations. If Bitcoin goes to these high valuation marks, you could have those um, social pushes to buy those type of numbers, expecting to be a millionaire in the future because if Bitcoin goes to these high valuations, then you you know being a millionaire just putting down X amount of money.
What Lambo,
Right.
moon, the usual memes that go
Rocket
along
ships.
with it.
Yeah. Right.
Right, and that's the thing though. So let's talk a little bit, and you touched on something that's great. But people mortgaging their house, or even like myself making a YOLO move, and what I call a YOLO move, it's like $3,500. Not that big a deal. I can recover from that fairly easily in terms of just paying it back, especially at the interest rate that I got for that money. But taking out extra loans, I don't see myself doing that on something like this. I want to be a little bit conservative with my risk, if you can call it that. But people taking out entire loans or taking out new mortgages on their home, but then also not diversifying it, not playing a little bit more in the market. Now, I'm sure some people did. We only hear about the extremes where that person bought, one Bitcoin and then it hasn't come back up until now. So that's a long term or a long time before, that person's getting that raise or getting their initial investment or getting profits on their initial investment, and then probably even taking that initial investment out to cover the loan. What are your thoughts on people that do that and do not diversify? And also, what are your thoughts on diversification in general in the cryptocurrency space? Yay, nay? What type of investor are you when it comes to something like this?
So it is dangerous if people take a second mortgage or just to invest. It is dangerous because at that point, would those people do that if the market was calm, steady, boring? A lot
Mm,
of people are doing that because of this irrational exuberance. I heard it back in 2017 with
mhm,
Bitcoin. I heard it now with Bitcoin. I heard it during this Wall Street bets with GameStop and AMC and Nokia and all these other stocks.
mhm,
People taking out mortgage because what they're looking at, they got dollar signs in their eyes. They say, well, if I put $100,000 or $75,000 or $200,000 into the market and it goes to here, well, I'll be a millionaire. I could just take my money out, pay that mortgage off or that loan off, and I'll be good. They're looking at Lambo dreams and everything else. But you know, it rarely works out that way, and it's dangerous. And and if a person does that, not diversifying, then that's a second red flag because that goes to show that they wouldn't have done that, put themselves in that situation if the market was boring. Now, as far as the diversification is, I would diversify in different sectors of the stock market, or in particular, well, not in particular, but and we talking about cryptocurrency.
right.
Um, Bitcoin's dominance is 60, let's say 60%. 60% of the cryptocurrency market cap, which is about 1.2 trillion, 60% of that is Bitcoin.
Mm,
So it's almost like, hey, I'm investing in Bitcoin, but you gotta, well, I'm investing in cryptocurrency, and a person may pick all these other coins, but one of those choices has to be Bitcoin because it commands so much of the market. And on top of that, wherever Bitcoin goes, the market goes. If Bitcoin goes up, it's going to raise all boats. If
mm,
Bitcoin goes down, it's going to sink all boats. So
mhm.
now,
Yeah,
you
there's been many coins that have decoupled from that, and if they have decoupled, they haven't done it for long.
right. So yeah, it's short lived.
Hmm.
So it's like, man, I gotta buy Bitcoin. You know, eh, it's fine if I buy all these other coins, but at least put something in Bitcoin. I'm not saying put everything in Bitcoin and don't diversify, but one of the choices of diversification should be Bitcoin.
Which is why I made an actual recent change. I was really only going to go in for two coins, ETH and XLM. And then I thought about it. I haven't done bad with Bitcoin, and it's a decent hedge. And also, I mean, if it is going to 10x, $1,000 in that is $10,000. If I put $400 or $410 in GameStop when it was $404.10, and then now looking at it, I'd be up 100x pretty much, because I think it got up to $500, I believe. And even if it went from $4.10 to $410, I mean, I would have been looking at something like 41 grand, in terms of initial return on the investment. Not the return, but the ending, the result of the investment. And that's kind of crazy, to have that 100x move to where you're seeing that type of money. Well, actually, it's more than 100x. But having such a drastic move to that upside, and then that's life-changing money. People are paying off somewhat of the houses, student loans, cars, and all types of other stuff. So I want to take this chance, though. You said something that was very interesting. A lot of people don't want to invest during the boring times of the market. So I've always seen, this is something I learned from Kramer in terms of on Mad Money. And he's like, he looks for the boring company, the company that doesn't have too many eyes on it, the company that is the quote unquote in terms of maybe valuation, or there's a trade there. So I did this with Uber. I did this with Lyft. A lot of people were kind of running away from them because of the pandemic. And they were one of the stocks in terms of pandemic, the stocks that did poorly during the pandemic that I kept. I didn't keep American Airlines and all those other things. And those did well. But then people looking at GameStop. So what are your thoughts on, the best time to trade? When's the best time to actually buy into this? When nobody's looking, when the market's bleeding and, people are looking at it go down, or is it better to, get into it when it's trading sideways? What are your thoughts? What's your entry point?
So a person that doesn't trade, they just invest. Yes, the best time again, something is when no one wants it. No one wanted these stocks back in March of 2020. No one wanted Bitcoin back in March 2020. People saw Ethereum go to 190, well, $90 or 100, or between $90 and $100. Nobody wanted that because where it fell from, people were like, no, I don't want that because it may go to zero. And people believe in what other people say that, oh, these things are trash or it's going to go to zero. But the people who said, well, you know what, this is a good deal because Ethereum's last all-time high was 1,500. If I get a couple of these, I can pay off a bill or do something that goes back to its all-time high. Well, now Ethereum has broke its all-time high. And same with other stocks. A lot of other stocks, they were in the dirt, they were in the mud, they were in the blood in March of 2020. Well, that's when people are running away, blood, as you know, blood in the streets, that's when you pick up things dirt cheap. And now, things are all-time highs, moving higher. Yeah, so for an investor, a non-trader, yeah, if they're going to purchase something, that's the best time to do it when no one wants it.
Same thing I did with silver, and that actually did well for me even when it came to buying this house. I was buying silver at, I want to say around $14 and then 17, and then all the way up into a little bit into the 20s before I said, okay, around $23 an ounce. I sold. I had 135 ounces at the time, sold that and used it towards the closing of my home. Or actually, technically you can't use it because you have to go through a whole bunch of stuff with it. But having that money ready to go and put it towards the closing of my home, that actually definitely helped. And so did cryptocurrencies as well. So people that say that you can't use cryptocurrencies to buy and all this other stuff to buy a home, it's no longer true. You definitely can. And there are ways that you can actually prove, especially if you use something like Coinbase. But you're going to have to at least have that money in that account for at least 2 to 3 months beforehand, before you go ahead and purchase a home. Maybe even longer, depending on the type of loan that you get. So if you do a conventional loan, things are a little bit looser in terms of, or less restricted, I should say, and they don't check as far back. So I did a 3% conventional loan, so I was able to do that. If you did something like an FHA or USDA loan, they go back sometimes a little bit farther than that. especially for USDA. I believe they go back a year, 2 years in terms of your bank statements and other investments. And then, of course, there are caps in terms of the amount of the yearly income that you have. Oh, and somebody's asking for your channel. I'm going to link that. It's right. Oh, I wanted to copy and paste that actually. Give me a moment. That is Lynell's channel there. Definitely go ahead and subscribe to Lynell's new channel. Sadly, the YouTube God struck him down as an innocent lamb. You know,
Yeah, that hurt. That really hurt, and they couldn't give me a straight answer as to why.
Yeah, I remember you were saying like they didn't give you much. In terms of interacting with the chat here, I did want to point out something. Richard Dixon, he says, I'm going to get back in the group with Dollar Will. I want to learn options. Right now, programming is taking up all my time. Let it take up all your time. Focus on that. That is going to be the basis of what you're going to be making, or the money that you're going to be using to actually grow your wealth and do more. So definitely focus on that. That is way more important. You have to have something that will fund, in a sense, those dreams, if you will. And then, of course, allow you to eat and then have a shelter over your head while you're making these moves. And then also put money away for savings. In terms of like what I did and my experience, having that money put aside so that I can actually save, buy other things that I wanted and things like that, to be mentally calm. So then I can make better and more prudent decisions in terms of finances, and say, hey, I don't have to liquidate all of this, or I don't have to liquidate that. Having a savings is so important when you're investing. And that's something that I've learned firsthand. And, just making sure you always have some money in the bank, and also have money so you can take you can take an opportunity, or take advantage of an opportunity when it presents itself, when it arises. So if you had, say, a good thought on, say, a cryptocurrency, and you can think it's probably going to go up 100%, or so, double, triple, maybe even 100x your money. Well, that doesn't mean anything if you ain't got no money to put into it. So focus on your programming. For all the others in there that kind of have the same mindset, I need to get into this. No, you don't. You need to save. You need to make sure that everything else is in order, and then you can go ahead and do this, and then do it, and not have to make I can make this YOLO move because I have other things. Also, it's a high liquidity when coming in terms of Coinbase. I can literally liquidate. I've liquidated thousands of dollars in minutes, and it be on my debit card. You pay the fee for that, but it's there. So if I ever needed it, I can always get it back out, which is why I'm a little bit more comfortable making that YOLO move. And something like GameStop, and the threat that it had on the market, we're not sure. We'll see in a couple weeks, couple months after the dust settles. But that does, moves like GameStop does threaten the liquidity for people like you and I. So be mindful of that. Also, in terms of interacting with the chat, Dogecoin, Unreasonable Man said, Dogecoin, please, your thoughts. So what are your thoughts, Lynell, on Dogecoin?
So Dogecoin was literally created as a meme by a guy named Jackson Palmer. I don't know if he still have his YouTube channel, but he had a YouTube channel. Jackson Palmer, he distanced himself from Doge because people started taking it seriously. People started wanting to be adopted. He said, hey man, this is a meme coin. The icon of the coin is a dog. And there's no cap on Doge. Doge is forever printed. So I don't know how many Doge is printed a day, and people want Doge to go to $1 because obviously, you coming to him, and we coming on now. We're talking about the emotional side. Doge was less than a penny, and people racked up on Doge, and under the thought of, oh man, if this goes to $1, I'll be, a quadruple millionaire.
Right.
Now, with the cryptocurrency market, anything's possible. Can Doge go to $1? Sure.
Now, one thing I want to interject, Doge did move, I believe it 10x'd in the matter of less than a week, probably about 2-3 days. It moved from 0.007 to 0.07. So less than a penny to about 7 cents, I believe. That's how it should work out. So that's kind of crazy, but go ahead.
Yeah, so can Doge go to $1? Sure. Should you stake your whole, family's future on it? No.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the allure to be a millionaire. Hey, I understand everybody want to have money, everybody want to be a millionaire, but don't now see that is YOLO. Don't bet the house on Doge. Okay, let's say it does go to $1, but just don't take out loan like I'm talking about student loan type loans on
Yeah.
it. Like, come on,
Wall Street bets type stuff.
right, right. Don't go all out. Don't sell your car, put it in a Doge. Don't sell your house, put it in Doge. Because what if it don't? Then you're gonna be blaming yourself. You're gonna be depressed. You're gonna be all these things, and you're gonna be on meds. Because Doge didn't go to $1 because people hyped it up. Sure, it could go. Sure, why not? It could. It could. It could. But what if it don't? If it don't, then you didn't bet the house on it.
Right. Yeah, and that goes into just diversification. So I did listen to something recently where some people were like, they kind of scoff at diversification, and some people they say it's like it's ignorant people trying to play the markets, and I can understand that, especially for people that can't pick stocks. You get into ETFs, and you get with an ETF, and you just pretty much spread your money across the whole market, and you shouldn't really lose too much. And I can understand that, but diversification is a hedge, it's a shield, if you will, that actually protects your bottom line. And something like Doge, when you look at it making those moves, that is a trade versus a investment. So if you want to get in and out of Doge, that makes sense to me. I mean, if you're going to get in it for the short term, watch it pump, and then dump that sucker as soon as possible. Yeah, that makes sense. But Doge is not something that's long term. It's not something that's new. Doge is actually pretty decent when it comes to if it's being printed into infinity. It's decent for things like liquidity, and it's also decent for the amount of trading pairs that it has on some what's it called, some exchanges. So that's kind of the benefits of Doge, if anything, in terms of what I've known about it. But yes, it's a meme coin of the Doge dog, much crypto, that whole meme. So Doge, I mean, yeah, you can touch it, but I wouldn't be in it for too long. That's definitely one of those like stick your toe in, but not the whole foot.
Right. And let's say people put some money in Doge and they make enough money to pay off a couple bills. You've won. Let's say
Yeah,
you put some money in Doge and you caught up with your child support through Doge.
yeah.
You won. Even if you cut some debt off your slate
Hmm.
via Doge, man, that is a win. That's a big W. Can't nobody tell you nothing with that. So, you don't necessarily got to be a millionaire. You can pay off this loan that's been haunting you for years. You can pay off, you can put a dent in your mortgage payment. Even, you don't necessarily got to be a millionaire. You can, that, taking debt off your shoulders extends your life.
Most definitely.
Literally,
Yep.
literally extends your life.
So that brings up a good point. I mean, there's so many things just listening to you talk about this. But you said you've won. What about taking profits? How do you make these decisions yourself personally? Like, when do you say to exit? How do you have exit points, or do you say right about here? Do you like just play by ear? Just kind of eyeball it.
So it's important for people to understand that prices don't go up forever. prices going ways up and down, up and down, up and down. A lot of people that's investing in the crypto, they're first time investors. So first time investors are the ones with the very weak hands. And any show of adversity, they're selling. So if it's important to ask yourself, a the profits you made is only on paper; they're not realized. When do you take profit? When do you cash out and you put some of that into your bank account?
But like now
And
you're supposed to hodl. Why not take? You're supposed to hold. Is
when
how's
I know, yeah, when people buy an asset, they become sellers automatically. They sell at a specific time, even if you hodl. Do
hmm
you hodl to you 95 years old? Do you hodl to your oldest person on earth? When you've been hodling for over a century? Eh, when do you cash out and live the lifestyle that you wanted? Good, you hodl and you hodl to these high prices. Congratulations. Now you can afford the lifestyle you want. But you can only afford that lifestyle that you want after you cash out. And once you cash out, then those gains will be realized. Let's say you made a 200,000 X on Doge. Congratulations. But that 200,000 X is not yours until you cash out. When you cash out, then you can realize those gains. And now you got to ask yourself, well, when do I cash out? What price point do whatever you investing in it has to hit for you to cash out? Let's say people say Doge, because Doge is on our mind. People, I guarantee you, if Doge hit $1, it's gonna tank after it hit $1. Why? Because so many people got doped up on Doge when it was less than a penny, and they
hmm
hodled to $1. That's going. I mean, people. There's going to be people that's going to sell at 75 cents. There's people going to be sell. There's people that's going to sell at 90 cent, 95 cent, just so their orders can be filled.
Yeah,
And
that I mean that thing tanks. That chart's gonna be sharp. That drop is gonna be sharp enough to use it as a ruler. You know,
right, exactly.
it's gonna be a
So
straight edge. It's just
right, right,
boom.
right. A straight edge T square. So now you got to ask yourself. You got to establish these rules. When do I sell out?
hmm
When do I sell? You can't hodl forever. Good, hodl is fine, cool, fine, awesome. You hodl till the price went up. But when do you sell? When do you cash out to realize the life that you want to live? When do you cash out to say, okay, I have enough money to be a nomad uh, traveler for the rest of my life. I got enough money to go to the Philippines, Vietnam, and uh, Japan 3 times a year for the rest of my life.
hmm
First class flights, back and forth. I don't care. When do you cash out? You can't do that by hollering. So you
Right.
have to ask yourself, at what price am I going to say, it's been a nice ride, boys. Thank you. I enjoyed the sofas and sitting on L-shaped sofas, but I gotta go.
Peace. Right. Yeah.
Right.
And so that brings me to the next thing, and this is something where this YOLO move, um, I would still be somewhat greedy. I'd probably, if Ethereum gets to $20,000 a coin at any point in time, I'd sell maybe 2 coins and go from there. Now this brings up another good point. One is an article that I read and when to take profits, and it gives a pretty decent explanation. So one strategy is to sell a fifth or a quarter of the asset at a time. So especially with fractional shares, that's a lot easier to do. You have 1 share of Tesla, it gets up to a certain, or let's say you have 4 shares of Tesla, it gets up to a certain point, it does very well. Now you just sell a quarter. All right. So that gets rid of 1 share of Tesla. Now you have 3. It hits another high and you're laddering up at that point. And as it's going up, you're selling a little bit off and you're always selling a quarter of what you currently have. So not what you had before. So if you sold that 1 coin, now you have 3, you would sell a quarter of 3, then you would sell a quarter of that and a quarter of that and a quarter of that. never never truly and totally getting out of the actual position or the asset, but actually keeping just a little bit on the table, but taking a little bit out off the table, and then even taking that, and then this gets into my original point that I was trying to interject here, is flipping those profits. So taking those profits from something like Tesla that's fairly volatile or considered fairly volatile. I think it's a graded stock and it's not valued at what it needs to be. It needs to be higher or should be higher. They're doing great, crazy stuff, and I would love to be a part of it myself. But flipping those profits, what do you do and what do you invest in? Me personally, I would like to invest in something like AT&T or a dividend producing stock or even a dividend producing cryptocurrency. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So let's say a person make enough money and they get $100,000, nice round psychological number. And I choose these nice round numbers is because the reason I choose these numbers is because once these cryptos reach these, let's say Bitcoin, reach these high round numbers, these
Mm-hmm.
high round numbers are areas where people sell off. $50,000, $60,000, like these
So
10.
choosing these round numbers because it's easier for me to do the math because I'm not good with it.
Yeah, and also it's psychological. You just said it's easy for you to do the math, and it's easier for people to say, "Well, $70,000, I'm gonna sell out."
Yeah.
These 10, once you get to these high prices, these nice round 10 increments of 10
Mhm.
are areas of interest where people sell out, where you see people, you know, uh, sell. So let's say a person, so that's why I use $100,000. Let's say a person make $100,000. It's not a good idea to cash out and buy a Lamborghini. It's not a good idea. So you got to ask yourself, well, what am I going to do with $100,000?
Mhm.
Well, it's good to loosen the noose around the debt noose from around your neck. It's good to do that. Are you going to part? And it's also good to parlay, at least some of that into other assets,
So
to preserve your wealth.
So in terms of preserving your wealth and flipping this money, I like that number. So we'll use $100,000. I believe the last value of AT&T was around 29 or $30 a share. AT&T per share gives you a dividend of about 50 cents per share. So let's just keep those round numbers, right? So $100,000 divided by $30, that is going to be 3,333 shares. Take those 3,333 shares, multiply that by 50 cents. This is what you're going to get a quarter. You're going to get about 1,600. Oh, it's a whole bunch of sixes. So you're going to get $1,667 per quarter by taking that same $100,000, and now you've put in an investment that doesn't do well in terms of valuation, but actually pays you a dividend. So that's $1,600. That could be light bill, phone bill, and all those other things, your car insurance, depending on the state that you live in. So go ahead.
Yeah, and so now you didn't pay the bill off, you didn't pay the credit card off, you paid the loan off, and now you got extra money coming in. So that $1,600 may not sound much, but $1,600 a year divided by 12, that can be, your internet bill. So now you got your internet bill paid off, free. On top of that, AT&T or whichever uh, dividend paying asset is paying you. They tend to increase their dividends every year. So now you can go on YouTube for free and goof off because you were smart enough to
Mhm.
invest in something that'll pay you.
Right.
You can go goof off on Twitter and Facebook. You could be on Facebook 9 hours a day. You could be on YouTube for 18 hours a day. Because the internet is free.
Yeah, and like we go back into it, right? And that's $1,600 a quarter. So we did have news reports of the gentleman on YouTube called Roaring Kitty, who actually was one of the orchestrators, or one of the not orchestrators. That sounds bad, but he was one of the main parties in terms of the big short squeeze for GameStop, and he was leading the charge. So if I took the $13 million that he supposedly lost at one point, I think he lost more supposedly. But if I was to take that $13 million and run the same numbers, AT&T at $30 a share and getting a dividend at $50 or 50 cents a share per quarter, or sorry, yeah, per quarter, we're looking at $216,000, $267,000 per quarter. That is like, and then you multiply that even times 4, you're looking at $866,000, $667,000 for the year off of your dividends of AT&T. If you would have taken that $13 million, taken it off the table and put it in something else, and then that goes back to HODL. How long and what are you losing because of it? Also, when you take that profit, do you buy the Lambo or do you invest it in something that's going to pay you over time so you can relax?
And these are questions that need to be talked about, because it gives people ideas. Not only that, it shares ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you don't have to do the crazy thing, or you don't have to go through, having real estate or anything else like that. You can just put it in stock, just put it in AT&T. This is something that even YouTuber Meet Kevin has talked about. If he was to sell all his real estate and take profit on everything, he would just buy AT&T and chill, like literally.
Right. And I'm reminded of this saying: do you want to live like a king for a short period of time, or live like a prince for the rest of your life?
Mm, mm.
Not too many people are princes. So you can live like a prince for the rest of your life and still, be living better than a lot of people. A lot of people.
Well, yeah, I mean, at 216 grand every quarter, let's just look at, let's live a prudent lifestyle, even though we got money. Let's go and buy a used BMW 7 Series, which I've been looking at lately.
I'm a Mercedes man myself.
You're a Mercedes man yourself. So even if you get one of these cars on the used market about 2 years old, they drop half in value. They half in value in that period of time. So a 2018 is going to go for about, and it's like a 740i. And mind you, the I is the old Li. They don't sell Lis here, or the shorter ones. So the I is the old Li. So it's the long body one, or the long wheelbase. So with that being said, you're getting that type of car, a 740. It's a 6-cylinder, decent design and everything like that. I mean, you don't have to put too much money in. You don't have to put too much money into it. Brother Truth Be Told says BMW convertible. Okay. BMW convertible, a little bit cheaper. Maybe you're an M4 guy, maybe, okay. I've seen a lot of you when I lived in Florida, South Beach runners and things like that. All right. So you're going for the ladies. I'm a big body man myself, physically, and that's the type of car I want. And that's the type of car I had. I had a 740 Li. So I want to get another one, right? And if I look at that, that vehicle is probably around 50 to 60 grand. And the 60 grand model at 2018, all black with a little bit of a sports package to it, is a 750i. So that's an 8-cylinder. That's easy to get. That's okay. When we're talking about, hey, it's not a Lambo. I'm sorry. Maybe next time, maybe next big move. But that type of money can open up so many more doors and provide you so many opportunities. So just back to what you said, you've won, so take these little wins and don't turn them into larger losses. Something like GameStop. Okay, hey, this is probably the most money you've ever seen. Don't go crazy with all of it, but take that type of money and I'd pay off the school loan, and as I said, I'd pay off my truck. I can afford to keep it as is in terms of like paying it off, but be paying more in interest. Blah blah blah. I can go on, but something like what GameStop would provide somebody like Roaring Kitty at $13 million, and he diversified or put it in multiple passive income generating stocks, maybe some REITs or something like that they pay out even more. I mean, you can do a lot with that. So think about that. This is something that I think about, and this is something I tell everyone else to think about. Think about things like this when you're actually making these moves, to take that money and flip it into something that is going to work for you. Not exactly real estate. You can trade in and out of these things. They're a little bit more liquid, or the cryptos is the most liquid. Stocks are liquid, And then, something like a house, that's brick and mortar. That's harder to liquidate. It's going to be, sometimes it takes a while for somebody to come and buy your home. Dollar Will, brother Dollar Will, mentor, esteemed elder, Dollar Will. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you so much. We talked a little bit about you earlier. So yeah, that was the thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, when you said that, next time you can get the Lamborghini next time, boo hoo, you ain't get it this time.
Mm-hmm.
When opportunity knocks, it's too late to prepare.
Oh, say it again for the people in the back. There's not many. They're there.
When opportunity knocks, it's too late to prepare. I
Mm-hmm.
say that to say it's always going to be a next time.
Yep.
So treat this time as a way to get ready for the next time.
Mm-hmm.
Treat this time to say, okay, I paid off these bills. I got some cash. I got some stash. I got a nice cushion. And when next time comes, guess what? You can use that cushion to get the event to door
Yeah.
because because opportunity come knocking and you already ready.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the important thing. And this gets into the next question a little bit about human behavior and how we think. You said something earlier about round numbers. Round numbers are very important to humans. They're easily divisible, especially if they're an even number. An even number divided by another even number is fairly easy to divide. It's harder to divide 3 by 4. So things like that. So this is very important. I think that it's kind of like you have to learn, or the point I'm trying to make is you have to learn human behavior in these markets. You have to learn cycles, the debt cycle. You have to learn the cycle of the year. Knowing when cryptocurrencies pump, when they bleed off. So now this is a little bit different, but there will be a bleeding period, usually towards the middle of the or towards the middle of the year. Sorry, early to middle of the year. And by the end of the year is usually when they pump, and then they sell off after that. This cycle or this trend or pattern has moved around quite a bit, but going off of 2017, it was a big push at the end of the year. I think it was around Chinese New Year. And then after that, bloodbath. People screaming in the streets, "Oh my God, I mortgaged my home. What the hell did I do?" So on and so forth. So, that's something that we have to look at, round numbers, at $1, $2, people like to sell. $3, people like to sell. 100x, 1,000%, people like to sell at these numbers. So understanding that, and then, as you said, preparing yourself to actually take that opportunity. Your thoughts, and then there's something that Brother Truth Be Told mentioned in the chat. Go ahead.
Yeah, so these conversations, when you're doing it by yourself, it's hard to abide by your own rules. But when you hear other brothers of your cohort, to, cohort
Yeah.
uh, talk, it makes it easier because now as humans we like to be, we're social creatures.
Mm-hmm.
We hear someone else talking the same stuff we talking about and thinking, it makes it easier for us to do it. We
Right.
say, you know what, let's say I make let's say, man, I made $100,000. I'm gonna save $20,000 for future investments, and
Mm-hmm.
or I'm gonna put 20 more thousand dollars to get rid of some debt. And when you hear someone else talking the same thing, you're like, oh man, I'm not alone. That gives you more confidence to do what you say you're gonna do. So
Mm-hmm.
these conversations are these conversations are necessary.
Mm-hmm. Right. And this is kind of I say this in my video quite a bit. A lot of these videos that I make are not really financial advice. They're my experience. They're me talking to my nephew, who is an investor, a new up and coming investor. And I got him signed up with a Coinbase account, and he shows me, he's like, "Yeah, Uncle Mike, them coins ain't doing too bad." And I was like, "I told you, all right, man, I see
Mhm.
you." But now he's getting a taste of it, and he's seeing the power of it. That he just maybe checks the app every so often. He wakes up, got a little bit more. Yeah, he wakes up and he got a little bit more money with it. And as Dollar Will says, life comes at you fast as you age, and this is true. And some of that is mainly because of the experiences that you've had over time. Some of these things become boring, if you will. So it's like you haven't seen anything new. So when a lot of stuff happens, like GME or what have you, people that have been in it or have been burned see that, and it's like, yeah, that doesn't really do anything to me. I've seen it worse. I've been hit harder. Um, and in some cases, when something drastic happens, something different happens, that gets at you a little bit different. And when that happens, then that makes you want to be a little bit more prudent or conservative so that when life does happen fast, you can actually be ready for it and have the opportunity to take care of it. Um, I want to get into this question here. So, brother, truth be told, Coinbase won't let us buy XRP or Cardano. Where can we buy them? Um, from what I saw, I was able to buy Cardano on Binance at one point. Lynell was saying Binance US. I was talking with another friend about this. Binance, I had a problem with them. I don't know if I was on Binance China. I think I've been on Binance US this whole time. I've had that account for a while, and that's where I used to buy my Cardano. But I'm not sure if they allow for US citizens to come in and buy because of some of the SEC regulations on XRP and that whole investigation. Uh, Lynell, do you are you willing to share, your thoughts on, where we can possibly get into XRP or Cardano?
Yeah, what you can do is go to CoinMarketCap or some of these market cap websites,
Mhm.
crypto market cap websites like CoinWatch, CoinGecko, and they'll tell you where you can buy each and every coin that a person is interested in. So you
Right.
go in there, click on XRP or Cardano, they tell you all the exchanges that allow you to purchase and trade those coins.
Now, with that being said, in some cases, you may actually have to use a VPN to get around it. That's up to you. If you do something like that, do understand there's a legal risk to that. And these are blocked or sanctioned, or there's sanctions against them for a reason. Because whether we like it or not, sometimes our government is really there to help us because they don't want to stop, or they want to stop capital flight from our shores, which could actually debase the currency and cause other issues for the greater economy. So it's for the greater good sometimes. Um, I've learned to live with it. It is what it is, but there are ways around it. So if you want to do something like that, as Lionel said, and even I recommend CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, and then you can actually look at the actual coin itself, and then look at all the different market or the different exchanges, and then the actual pairs that those exchanges have for that coin. Sometimes the more pairs, the better, and you probably will see more. You see like a lot of Doge pairs, if you will.
Mhm.
All right. So Lionel, I'm not sure if we're over an hour here. Did you have any other thoughts or closing thoughts in terms of you know, mindset, if you will, for people that are we talked about my YOLO move, which is $3,500. There is more than that in it, but the current YOLO move is $3,500, $1,000 on BTC. Getting it out of that $3,500. I'm hoping that Ethereum will come back down to about 1,500 at the lowest, and then buy one ETH, and then another $1,000 on XLM. Earlier on in the videos, for those that got here a little bit late or are watching us on the playback, or got here a little bit late, but uh, we went over things like that. And then, what are your closing thoughts on the market and coming up with a mindset that is something that's going to be beneficial for you in the long run, in terms of your retirement and in terms of putting you in a better position so you can get um, to be in even a better position?
So two things. One thing I want to point out is you said you waiting for ETH to come down to $1,500. ETH
Mm.
was $100, and I'm not trying to bash or anything. I'm saying just that statement shows you, wow, these prices have gone up. People, when ETH was $100 not even a year ago, and now people are saying, I want to buy it when it come back down to $1,500. Well, what will it be a year from now? Will it be $3,000? Well, people saying, well, I'm waiting for it to come back to $2,800. So now, just to put a little context to this. And two, people tend to say, well, is it too late? Should I invest? I I'm going to start answering that question differently. And my answer to that question would be, can you afford to have a position of zero?
Ooh,
And if they say no, then you have your answer.
right. And that's very important that you bring up something that happened with me. I put $1,000 in Ethereum and it was at $200 a coin, and that was early 2020. And I kept on dollar cost averaging, putting in extra money, putting in bonus money and things like that. When I got my bonuses, I didn't buy anything crazy. I was actually getting rid of a lot of stuff and giving away a lot of my stuff, my worldly possessions, if you will, because I wasn't going to move all that up here to Georgia. But I got rid of a lot of that stuff, and I was just stuffing the money away into the market, and it paid off handsomely. It did very well for me, and I was able to fund a lot of things moving into my home. So, with that being said, that's very important. You know, you make me question even what I was just saying. Thanks for that gut check. But you made me question what I was just saying in terms of like, okay, I'm waiting for it to go down to 1,500. Will I still be waiting when it goes up to 1,700? And that's a thing that we have to look at. And then also the power of dollar cost averaging, or what I like to call trickle investing. But we'll stick with dollar cost averaging because that's the popular way of saying it. But with dollar cost averaging and trickle investing, this is something that I do with my Roth IRA. And I do, have a real retirement account. But even with my Roth IRA, I put in $115 per week into that account. And the reason why I do that is because $115 times 52 weeks, that's $5,980. So with that gets me just about to the limit that I can actually put in my Roth IRA. So this is something that's very important, and this is like that the importance of dollar cost averaging and putting it into a portfolio that can grow over time. And those little bits actually help. You don't have to come in with a big whack. You don't have to wait for the right time. If you're waiting for the right time, then hopefully you are prepared. So there's a lot of things that you can do, and there's a lot of things that you should be doing to not just focus on your finances and getting yourself in a better financial position, but a part of that, and a very important part of that, and this is something that I focus on, is getting your mindset, your mind in a better position, in a better frame, so that you can actually, paint the picture or actually get a clearer vision of what you want in terms of your life. So with that being said, Lynell, was there anything else you want to leave us with?
No, that's it. That's all I got.
Alrighty, brother. Thank you so much for this. Thanks you for sharing your information. Again, this has been a discussion with crypto on crypto with Lynell. I just gotta say your new name here, and I'm just gonna put the channel in the chat. Definitely go and follow this brother and the information that he's putting out. Support him. Get him back over 1,000. Let's make sure that he gets more view hours and things like that. And let's definitely, anybody that you guys have in terms of people that we should all be watching, definitely try and hype them up in some way, shape, or form, either in the comment section. Dollar Will, same thing with you. I definitely want to be talking with you. I remember I did a interview on your channel, and Dollar Will is somebody that I definitely yeah, and also the thumbnails, the image itself is actually in the description. So I always try to make sure I give credit to the artists, because there's so many great artists on artstation.com, and that's the site that I use quite a bit in terms of kind of unwinding my mind and seeing some crazy stuff on there. But yeah, Dollar Will, that Bitcoin bull picture is really good. So gentlemen, as always, thank you for listening, and I hope this helps. If you're not taking what I say with a grain of salt, you're low on sodium. Do your research, understand what you're getting into, and do things that'll help you plan for your future and put you in a better position in the long run. With that being said, as always, thanks for listening. Bye.